Okay. Hopefully this looks good to you guys on YouTube. We're experimenting. I've never live streamed direct to YouTube before on my own channel anyway. And it should also work on Twitch, but we'll see. Yeah, and I need to change the title of the Twitch stream now. Shit. How do I do that? How do I do that not through OBS? Stream Manager. Goals. This is what I get for not preparing. Slash title. Man, and I don't want to... I'm in the wrong category, too. What a mess. All right, well, I guess we're just going to be in the wrong category here for a little bit, because the match is about to start. Actually, maybe it's not. 55 people. The thing might not actually fire. I guess that gives me a little more time to try to figure it out. Feels like it should be easy to edit this from the Twitch channel creator dashboard, but... Edit stream info. There we go. Pioneer, Lotus, challenge, if it fires. Yeah, Nerd Girl is over in the other room streaming with Schultz. Hello Good Game is great, by the way. I feel like they don't get nearly enough recognition for their quality. Like, they should get so many more views than they do. The show that they put on is extraordinarily high quality. Come on, just 4 more people. Recommend you use a higher stream bit rate. I don't think I can do that without restarting the stream, so that'll be some learning for next time. I think. Maybe I can change it. Analytics. Stream health. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I don't think I can change it without restarting the stream. I'm messing around with my settings a little bit. I have YouTube as my primary stream in OBS because that allows me to stream in 4K to YouTube. And I think for Magic Online, 4K is important. Which means that I need to do some like hacky stuff to get Twitch to be streamed to. And it might all be for naught. I don't know. How long do they give this thing to fire? We're at 63. The other thing is I can't put music on. There's no way to have a like Twitch VOD track equivalent for YouTube. So if I put music in the YouTube stream, then it will actually have it'll actually like persist to the VOD, and then I'll get copyright strikes, and I don't want that. It does look like we were able to fire the event. So now let's have a look at what our opponent is probably up to. Show chat, show game log, and then let's get that out of here. We'll just leave it like this for now. Let's see. Deck. Search. Player. Okay, this person has played the last several challenges, it looks like, and they've been on Is It Phoenix every single time, which is a good matchup for us. This hand is not good, though, so we'll ship this one away. And we find a better hand. We have Proctor, Bolliged, Thicket. So, like, these are staying for sure. Should also pull up their list and see how many Spell Pierces and things they're running. They have 2 Spell Pierce in the main deck. They're running Artist Talent because everyone is now. And that's about it in terms of interaction. So they have a very fast deck. They could kill us. I don't know what to bottom here. I can see an argument for scrying because we have the Proctor to get the Lotus field into play. But if we don't have a scrying to find a second Lotus, then Pour doesn't look as good. Vizier is just like generically good. I think I'm going to bottom the scrying. It's just the lowest impact card. And we can function like this. And yes, that was Zakama in the sideboard. I'm just playing the list that Raced took to a top 8 in the last challenge that he was in. Let's see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Yeah, found Thespian stage, so that's sick. Most likely play for them is Free the Fae. But I don't want to put Proctor into play because it will die, so I think we're just chilling. Next turn will be Proctor plus Field. They have no way to counter it. We kind of just have to hope that we don't die. Away goes one lightning axe. That's good. I had no idea, okay, that you liked big creatures like Zakama. That seems so unlike you. I love Zakama. I have my doubts about it being good in the sideboard, but I guess if the meta has pivoted to like a bit of angels following the most recent regional championships, it kills artist talent in the Phoenix matchup, it kills high noons. I did run it in the second chance event in DC because I thought it would be good against all of the high noons and artist talents there. Never drew it once. It also gains life against the aggro matchups, but honestly, by the time you're resolving your 9 CMC thing. All right, so this is a relatively slow start out of them. No artist talent, no prophyletic memory. They've just treasure cruised, and now they're going to discard to hand size, so life is good. We're just going to proceed as planned. And the name of the game here is just, like, don't get got by Spell Pierce. We should have a relatively easy first game 1 here as long as we can play around Spell Pierce effectively. Okay, so it looks like 1 Phoenix is coming in. They're going to be tapped out. And we'd try to go off. How much mana do we have? Oh, now we definitely get to go off. Sick. Cool. Yeah. Not much to do here, but to do it, we can go ahead and just copy Lotus Field. Cycle Vizier. And we're not going to have a floating blue. Actually, you know what? We will. We get to pour first. And that means we get Ultimatum Pile that has floating blue in it, so those piles are much better than the ones that don't. We have Spell Mastery enabled for Dark Petition, so that's great. Omniscience gives us Archdruid's Charm into Fae into another Ultimatum, so we can take Omniscience safely. And what else? What do we want as our last pick? We can take Lear, they're tapped out. That gets us back Hidden Strings. We can pour again from there. But realistically, we have the Archdruid's Charm in hand anyway to fetch Lear. So I think I just want more material in the graveyard. I think I'll just put another pour in. That seems okay, right? We could actually just put Lear. Yeah, no, I think this is fine. I don't want to overthink this. This is winning no matter what we do. And I just want to keep my clock high. All right, so stack it so the pour resolves first, so we have more information about what to do with our Dark Petition. All right, we have 3, 6, 8, 9 mana. So, oh, we have way more than that. So we can Omniscience, and then, yeah, we're good. Yeah, so we can even Omniscience it up here. Get to pour for free. Now, Yeah, this works. So we can petition, fetch Fae. Actually, I should have Archdruid's Charm for Fae. Yeah, I made this a little harder on myself than I needed to, but whatever. Because I can also just get Leer. Fae can find Approach. Here's Approach. Here's Leer. Here's Petition. And we're there. Cool. So pretty easy first game. Game 1 is significantly easier than games 2 and 3. In the sideboard, our opponent has 2 copies of Annul, Ether Gust, Negate, and 2 Mystical Disputes, and a Brazen Borrower. Overall, not too much that we're super concerned about. I don't think we're interested in 9 lives. They have no Ashiok at all. It looks like they have no hate permanents at all, actually. So we can maybe cool it a little bit on the soul partitions. Assuming they're playing the same list that they played before, of course. I'm like not actually terribly opposed to the temporary lockdowns, because I feel like one of the ways we lose is just them jamming Profts, them jamming Artist Talent, and them jamming Ledger Shredders and just killing us super fast. And temporary lockdown hits all of those things. And that means I think we need less of the soul partition-y effects. And I think maybe I'm even down to cut the proctors, maybe something like this. And one thing I'm not sure about here is the lockdowns. I don't think we need Zakama. I think the combo is still good enough. Yeah, let's try this. Hand's good. We have the developed Lotus field. We have Vizier to keep the cards coming. Silence to protect the combo when the time comes. Just don't want to get run over. But we're certainly keeping this. I wonder if there's ever a world where we're supposed to play Thicket and Silence in their upkeep. I feel like the most likely play is going to be like Artist Talent here or Ledger Shredder, and then Silence next turn would be better anyway. But they feel the need to keep Counter Magic up for my Sylvan's Crying, which is perfectly okay with me, given that we don't have it. And we have the Lotus field already. So I think I'm supposed to play the Forest here because having untapped white mana later is at a premium. And I think having the Spires Headquarters will be nice with the Lotus field in play to like dig for the second Lotus field-y effect. How did our opponent even do in the last challenge? They went 4-3, so they're an okay player. Opponent shocks in, Steam Vent says go. So really not much that their deck does at instant speed besides counters. We can jam Lotus Field here and cycle Vizier if we want. That has the advantage of if they are playing Ashiok, which they, again, weren't before. If they are playing Ashiok, then that leaves a Soul Partition to be able to exile it. We also have the option of playing Thicket, cycle Spara's Headquarters. Try to go off next turn. But that's harder without a Lotus Field already in play. Yeah, I'm just going to jam the Lotus Field here, and I'm not going to cycle Vizier. On the basis that their list doesn't seem to have Ashiok in it. If it did, then I'd be a lot more worried. But I think the worst thing they can do to us here is probably free the Fae into, like, a bunch of Phoenixes, and the most damage that's likely to do to us next turn is, like, 12. So I don't think they can kill us, and they would have to tap out to do that. So there's one Phoenix hit off of Free the Fae. Will this video be on public after I finish? It should be. I will try my best to make that happen. I think it automatically happens, but I don't know for sure because I've never streamed to YouTube before. But yeah, I will do my... I'm also recording it locally, so even if it doesn't automatically go up, I'll upload it later. All right, so we're on a boat. That's 2 spells. And 3. So 1 Phoenix comes back, and if we draw Thespian Stage, we can even try to go off. I don't really feel the need to do that because we have the Silence in hand. Yeah, so... Huh. Lotus is one of your favorites? Yeah, me too. I don't think the deck is great right now, but I do love it very much. I think given the Silence we have in hand, and given that we're not primed to go off yet, and that we're not under a huge amount of pressure, I think what I want to do is cycle Vizier first, planning to scrying fetch stage, play stage copy. But of course, if we draw something good, then things can change, but we don't, and that's fine. So, like, there could be a world here, like, what's the worst thing they can do? What's the most damage? It would be, like, yeah. With no graveyard. If they had a full graveyard, Artist Talent into Proft, into Land, into Treasure Cruise would be an awful lot of damage. Okay. So we have 7 untapped mana. Vizier gets us to 8. Strings gets us to 12. Petition, assuming we do things in the right order, Petition goes down to 7 and then up to 10. So we should be able to resolve Ultimatum here. Yeah. So let's just lead with Thicket and try to resolve Silence. And I think the only thing they can really do here is just actual factual negate. And either way, that means they're not countering anything this turn. Okay, so Spell Pierce, what happens if I pay? We have 6 mana, down to 4, up to 5, up to 9, down to 4, up to 7, but that 7 includes black, so we need to sequence it differently. So Silence will go to the bin. So I think what I want then... Thanks, Alberto. I think I do want to pay, because this only makes sense if there's another Spell Pierce or a Mystical Dispute or something in hand. So I think what I want to do is black, blue, and pay one of the black and one of the blue. Yeah, and this is fine, obviously. We don't counter this. Or we don't pay for this. Because they're tapped out. So that's the second Phoenix in the bin. Okay. So now we're up to... We have 4 mana. Vizier takes us up to 5. The problem with that is that... 5 with Dark Petition means that we don't have any mana left. We don't have any blue mana left after that to strings. So I think we strings here, untap 2 Lotus Fields. We'll have 8, 2 of it blue. And then Petition takes us down to 3, up to 6, 3 of it black. And then we can use the Vizier to filter to get to 7. Yeah. So if I Dark Petition here, I'll be left with 3 blue, or an untapped Lotus Field, 3 floating black. I'll have an Merchant Ultimatum in hand. Then I can cycle Vizier, pay a black, pay a blue, untap a Lotus Field, use the green. We have Ultimatum. So we're there. Right, and we have Spell Mastery? We do. Oh, okay. Well, that's even better. Because now we get to have an ultimatum pile that has a blue floating in it. All right. And that might just be enough to get them to scoop. Yeah. Cool. That was nice. All right. So that's 20 minutes in. So probably like half an hour-ish left in the round. I have time for something else. What should it be? Realistically, it should probably be like, fix my freaking stream. I guess I should also stop recording. Yeah, you know what? Let's play a league, I guess. For now, for want of something to do. If the round 1 match here goes long, then we could find ourselves multi-tabling in the in round 2 for a little bit, but I don't want to just sit here for half an hour with nothing to do. It's one of the reasons I kind of dislike streaming these tournaments, because there's just so much downtime. Maybe I shouldn't have started the league, because the Foundations comes out and that ends the league on the 12th at 3 p.m. I'm a little sad about Pioneer, to be honest with you. I worry that without competitive outlets, like without a regional championship season, it will get left to rot. Okay. So we are on the draw again. Cannot keep this, unfortunately. Opponent does not show us a companion. This one's okay. I think I put back Faye. It's either Faye or Soul Partition. I feel like an aggro deck is relatively likely, and Soul Partition is almost never dead, where Faye of Wishes might just rot in our hand for a while. We also have the Archdruid's Charm to find the Faye later if we need to. So I think that's what goes back. But we could just get bowled over here. You want to play more Foundations? I haven't played any of it yet. We have a big decked out recording weekend coming. Turn 1 Plains. Turn 1 Plains go. What the hell is that? Angels, hopefully. Yeah, we have a big decked out weekend or week coming up. We're recording 8 games this week. And one of them is going to be a Foundations game. Alright, so this is probably Angels. If it's the green-white hate bears thing, then we're in for a bad time. But no turn 2 Thalia makes me happy. I'm not exactly sure what's going on when they don't do anything for the first 2 turns. Enduring Innocence. I think that's part of the Angels deck. It's also something that gets exiled by Archdruid's Charm. And Soul Partition, for that matter. So I can play second Thespian stage and cycle Spara's Headquarters. And that gets me a little more velocity through the deck. Am I worried about Beseiju? Because here's the thing, if I play Thespian stage here and then play Lotus Field next turn and go to copy and they blow up the Thespian stage I attempted to copy with, I'm still okay, right? Because I can fetch a Spara's Headquarters or something off the Beseiju, sacrifice that, and still have another Thespian stage in play. So I think that's fine. So let's just try to put ourselves in the best possible position once I have the 2 Lotus Fields in play, and I think that means cycling the Spara's Headquarters this turn. Take 2 down to 18. That's not a great draw. Just attacking and saying go. Their hand must be super clunked, right? Like, there's not really any flash threats in the deck. Beseiju, unfortunately, does make quite a bit of sense. But I don't think we can realistically play around it, and I don't think it's that bad if it happens. And hopefully their hand is just like 4 collected companies. Cool. And in the event of like Redain or something, we have the Soul Partition to deal with that. It does look like their hand was just totally clunked up on collected companies. All right, so we have 3, 6, 7, 11 mana. 11 down to 8 with the charm. Down to 4 after casting Granted. I don't think it does us any good to try to start going off this turn. So I think it's just going to be Mana Confluence here. And we'll just try to Archery's Charm on their end step. We can also have Soul Partition up for whatever hate piece they put into play, if it's like Redain or Archon of Emeria or something. Yeah, there's Thalia, so that's fine. So we're taking 6 here. That's nowhere near enough pressure. Shocking in Temple Garden. My guess is, like, given the way the game is gone, it's another Coco. And they're holding up 5 mana to be able to pay for their own Coco through Thalia. And they skip their combat step. Is it that, like, Convoking Wandering Emperor? I don't know. Okay, now we have just boatloads of mana, so this is nice. So we can just start. I don't think it matters how we start exactly. We can just Granted. Oh. Yeah, that's problematic, actually. Okay. Huh. Yeah, that's really annoying. So we have 3, 7, 10 mana. We can Strings Omniscience here. If they have Beseiju. If they have Beseiju, then that's bad for us. But given that they missed a land drop earlier, I don't think they can have Beseiju. So the question then becomes, is it better to play the strings now or later? Because I don't think they have a way to kill Omniscience. Unless they, like, literally top deck Beseiju. And I think given that we know they have Thalia in hand and the strings will get taxed next turn, I think we are supposed to play the Omniscience. It does mean that we have to take a point of damage off of our Mana Confluence. So we'll go to 15 and then take another 6 down to 9. But we'll have a free Granted next turn. Yeah, I think we're supposed to do this. Also, it plays around the possibility of another Aven Interrupter in hand because they're down to 2 mana. Oh, I miscounted even. We don't even have to tap the Mana Confluence. So if Beseju here, then we've gotten extremely unlucky. Otherwise, I think we're in pretty good shape. Second Aven Interrupter nailing our Granted again would be irritating. But tough for us to beat that hand. Alright, well, this is annoying. Yeah, this is a pretty obnoxious deck for us to play against. Okay, so they name Granted. So Granted will cost 4 to cast, but really, who cares? The main problem is if they have another Aven Interrupter, and if they do, oh well. It does make a lot of sense given how they've tapped. And then we're just dead, right? 3, 5. Actually, not quite dead. Oh, we are dead to the actual Aven Interrupter itself. So yeah, a combination of like flooding out here and multiple Aven Interrupters is too much for us to overcome. Wow. That shows you the like that shows you what we're up against in that matchup, right? Because they didn't do anything for 3 turns. They like they didn't do anything for 3 turns, and that was still good enough against our deck that tries to kill very, very early and quickly. So, how do we deal with that? Proctor is like surprisingly good at dealing with it deals with Aven Interrupter. I want my Soul Partitions for sure. Temporary Lockdown doesn't seem great. Honestly, Depop, just like a board wipe seems reasonable. Sakama also kind of seems okay. Like, maybe I'm supposed to take out the combo here. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to take out the combo. And just try to win like this. Don't think I want Silence. 9 lives is like interesting, but I don't think great. Yeah, let's try this. I'm not sure this is right, but let's try it. That is a not very good hand. one's better. Yeah, they even missed a land drop that game too. Let's see how the other one's going. All right, so looks like there are still 4 matches left. So we keep this, and what do we bottom? We're going to have 2 Lotuses in play. That allows us to play Dramoka. Means strings is pretty good. Charm finds Zakama. I don't know. This is a tough putback. It's one of these 3. I could see putting back Dramoka because Charm can find it later, but our first several turns are going to be taken up by establishing our 2 Lotus fields, at which point we'll be able to play the Dramoka only if we have it in hand. Like, it would take another turn to Charm for it and then play it. But I suppose not if we also keep Hidden Strings. Okay. The Forest is kind of nice as well, in that it gives us a way to play around Beseiju a little bit. Thespian Stage can be our turn 3 land, and if they don't have Beseiju open, we can go to copy the Forest, so it won't be a legal target anymore. Much faster clip out of the opponent this time with the Llanowar Elf. Okay. Yeah, hopefully we don't end up running into too much of this deck. What happens if I just close this? I guess that's okay. All right. And as soon as I close it, I don't realize what they named. Okay, but they named Hidden Strings, and that makes sense. So let's just go ahead and Thespian Stage here and copy the Forest. And if they play something like Damping Sphere, then that's sad. Archon of Emeria is also a possibility. Like, there's just so many cards they could play here that totally screw us. And that's just, you know, this deck is very good against us. There's no 2 ways to cut it. All right. So I assume they name Poor here. Okay, naming poor makes sense. So now poor goes from being net positive mana to net negative mana, and that's a pretty big deal. There's a comma. So next turn we will have 6 mana. Hidden Strings will net another 2. That gets us to 8. But if Sakama enters play, then that's pretty much the ball game. Anyway, we're basically pot committed now. Thespian Stage will have to copy the Lotus, and if they have Damping Sphere, then so be it. And if they have an Aven Interrupter, we probably also lose. Okay, here's 7, down to 7, and say go. Well, that's the mana we need for Zakama. Unfortunately, if we strings and they Coco in response and hit Archon of Emeria, then the game ends. Yeah, there's a lot of ways we just lose. So I feel like we just have to go for it. All right. Well, we have 7 mana, 8 mana, 10 mana. Charm gets us down to 7. We could do all of that and then Charm for Dramoka and play that. That's another option. But that also doesn't play around. That also doesn't play around Aven Interrupter. Or Coco into whatever. Eight mana. Now I assume they Coco here. Aven Interrupter, if they play it, I don't feel bad because we could never have beaten that. Okay, so now they're Cocoing looking for a Deafening Silence kind of effect. And that's just going to have to be the way it is. If they find it... Yeah. Okay. Well, that sucked. Alright. So... Alright, well, we're just in time to finish that match to go straight into round 2 of the challenge anyway. So these are the ones... This is the match that matters. I feel like the MTGO sounds might be a little high for you guys as well. Turn that way down. Man, I think we've lost every die roll so far. All right. Opponent is Maro Lancy with a Giganta companion. And they have been playing Rakdos Prowess and Gruul Aggro in the challenges. So we may have lost already by losing the die roll. So we need a swing for the fences kind of hand, almost certainly. This is not that hand. Well, this has gone about as badly as it possibly could have. I think we're supposed to keep it. Like, what does our path to victory look like? I don't think there's anything in the main deck that does it. We need to either... Like, even our fastest wins with this deck are not fast enough to beat this deck on the play. So, like, it's going to have to be generate a ton of mana, wish for 9 lives, and try to stabilize with that. And this hand, if we draw exactly right, has the pieces to do that. I think it's actually a keep. That's not bad. I think we have to hold up Soul Partition and hope they make a mistake. Interesting. So this is 4, 7, 9 damage. We go to 10. Essentially dead next turn. If we Soul Partition the mouse, we take 5 down to 14, and we might live. Maybe. We have to take a point off the mana confluence to do it. So we would go to 13. And then if we rip... What do we need to rip? If we rip Lotus Field... Play Lotus Field, Vizier Cycle. We don't have a second land to untap with Hidden Strings. So I think, yeah. I think this is Soul Partition the Manifold Mouse. We can't gain life ever again. Thespian stage. Okay. Like, we're just dealing with like tiny percentages to win here. Like, what outs are we looking for? That's what this is an exercise in. So if we play Thespian stage here, and our opponent just passes, say, for the sake of argument, and we draw Lotus Field next turn, we can play Lotus Field, cycle Vizier, untap Lotus Field. We'll have a Thespian stage and a Hidden Strings. And if we draw another Hidden Strings off of the Vizier cycle, then that lets us fetch Fae and play 9 lives. So the question then is, how do we survive that long? Like, is it possible to do something else? Can we just play Fae of Wishes? That'll cost way too much mana. The Fae will surely die. We know they have a Manifold Mouse. They can pay the Offspring next turn, I suppose. We can also just jam the Vizier. If we play Vizier and it blocks Screaming Nemesis, next turn we'll have Thespian stage. If we rip Lotus Field, then we don't. Like, then we can play Lotus Field, sack these 2 lands, Hidden Strings, the Thespian stage, and the Lotus Field. We'll be left with 1 floating and an untapped Lotus and Thespian stage. And if we rip Strings there, that gets us to 7 mana, which is still enough to Fae plus 9 lives. But we need to have just the right mana to do it, and I think we do. So play Vizier, Hidden Strings is still an out to get a 9 lives in play. So that's something. The question is, can we realistically survive anything else? Screaming Nemesis was their best turn 3 play. We're taking 5 next turn. They have 3 cards in hand. A lock kills us. Does Vizier protect us from Monstrous Rage? Does it even make a difference to play it? Say they swing out next turn, they have Monstrous Rage, target Screaming Nemesis, and we've blocked Screaming Nemesis. So it gets to be a 6/4 trample. 3 points gets through as opposed to 6. And then they fling a 6 power creature at my face, so that's a total of 9 damage with Vizier in play, plus 2 from etching is 11. We go to 2. But we have to pay a life with Mana Confluence to do that, so we'll be at 1. And then the next turn, we'll have to tap the Mana Confluence again for the Hidden Strings to still be an out. So we're dead to the Monstrous Rage either way. I think when it's all said and done, I think I'm supposed to just say go and hope they don't have enough to kill. It's going to be enough, right? I guess Infuriate specifically, the Vizier line would have been maybe better. This is 5, 7, 10. Down to 3. And do they have the fling? have to assume that since they didn't just have 6, they have the fling. Yeah. Okay, yeah, there's probably no beating that. All right, so against them, we bring in an awful lot of stuff. We bring in 4/9 lives, 2 temporary lockdown, Depop, Path, Dramoka, and I assume also Zakama. And that means out comes the combo. I think we can cut a strings. Maybe even 2 strings, honestly. And 3 proctors. The Nemesis is problematic, turning off the life gain from Zakama and Dramoka. But we have Archdruid's Charms and Soul Partitions to protect us from that. Realistically, this is just a very, very hard matchup. And we lost the die roll. Okay, so we'll take the play. Maybe I should shrink my camera in this view. Something like that. I've said it before. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like this, the perennial threat in Pioneer now of dying on turn 3 has kind of soured me on the format a little bit. I played a modern RCQ. Played a modern RCQ last Saturday, and I brought Twiddlestorm there. And honestly, it felt like you were a lot more likely to see turns 4 and 5 in Modern than you are in Pioneer. Despite the fact that Boros energy has such explosive starts sometimes, it can also like lean on its grindier side. Some of them are Mardu versions that like try to play Orcish Bowmasters and grind you out from there. And it seems weird to me that Pioneer should be so much faster. Like you should have to have early interaction so much more essentially in Pioneer than in Modern. And I think some of that is the One Ring. right? Like, decks can't necessarily kill you quickly enough to negate the One Ring, and they need to be able to grind once the One Ring hits the board because that happens so often. But also just like the quality of early answers in Pioneer is pretty low. It's just very hard if you're not playing black specifically to deal with the early aggro creatures. Like if you don't get Fatal Push, like you could maybe have like March of Otherworldly Light, and that still takes that's a bunch of card disadvantage in order to play it, and it's clunky. Anyway, I don't like it. So here is an example of a hand that's like a snap keep in the dark. We have Thespian Stage and Lotus Field. We'll have a copied Lotus Field on turn 4, and then turn 5 we'll have Pour Over the Pages, and all of that is just very, very slow. So I think this has to go back, actually. This is better. It's better even though there's only one land. Because if we draw a second land in our first exactly our first draw step, we have 9 lives and Temp Lockdown. If we don't draw land in our first draw step, are we dead? Probably. Because Lotus Field will come in tapped on 3, and we'll have basically lost the game. So the question is, if we go to 5, are we more likely to be able to establish this kind of board? Because the next hand, we're very likely to be able to actually like get Lotus Field into play without any risk, but we'll also need to have found the 9 lives in the Temp Lockdown. So, you know, I think I'm actually going to keep this. It could be wrong. But any land, and I think we have a pretty good shot. Like I think we're like what, 1 in 3 ish to draw a land here, and I think mulliganing gives us less than a 30% chance to win the game, like dramatically less. So I think this is one of those places where you're just supposed to take the risk. It's like one of those plays that you make to try to win the game instead of one that you make to try not to lose. Yeah, there we go. So here's Boseiju. Now we have an interesting choice. We certainly cast Scrying here. The question is, what do we get? We can get a Thicket, and Thicket allows us to jam Lockdown next turn. Whereas Thespian Stage does not. But Thespian Stage does allow us to copy Lotus Field eventually. I think that that's just a little too slow. Our opponent kept 7 cards. So I think we just need to do the aggressive play. And by aggressive, I mean like one that affects the board. We have to respect that they have a hand that can kill us very quickly. If they had mulligan, maybe we can have a different conversation there. Okay. So it's a weird play, right? I think we have to. I think we have to temp lockdown here. Unfortunately, I would love to get the Lotus field down. Yeah, I think it just has to be temporary lockdown. I guess maybe there's an argument for 9 lives, because if they Thoughtseize us here, then I'll be sad to have lost the 9 lives. But Thoughtseize probably would have come out on an earlier turn. Screaming Nemesis is problematic. Oh, this card works differently than I thought it did. So only if it gets touched in some way do we... are we unable to gain life. So here the play, I suppose, is probably just jam 9 lives. Lotus Field, sack Thicket, Beseiju. Is there a way to milk it any longer? It's hard to tell without knowing what's in their list, right? Like, Screaming Nemesis was not a common card in DC. I think I just want to play it super safe. This also protects the 9 lives from a top deck Thoughtseize. I have to make a note to self that I need to filter my mana carefully, because one of the things that could happen next turn is we could eventually cycle our way into like a Zakama, and it would be very sad if we didn't have the mana to cast it. Magebane Lizard is it's a good card in this situation. Another 9 lives. Okay. It's tricky. So we have 5 mana. Strings gets us to 7. Pour takes us down to... Pour takes us down to 6. All right, so what happens if we strings here? We have 5 mana, we go up to 7, and then Petition takes us down to 2, up to 5, and then we'll have whatever we want in hand. And that allows temporary lockdown, but that kind of stinks. Would love to be able to get another Lotus field in play, but that doesn't seem like it's in the cards. Okay. If I pour again here, I still have the option of jamming 9 lives. And then we'll have a strings and Petition in our hand for next turn. Yeah, I like this. Okay. So if I pitch, this all just doesn't quite work. I have 5 mana here with the strings. Can charm for Vizier. Okay, so if I charm for Vizier, I would need to strings first, up to 6, charm for Vizier, down to 3, down to 1, up to 4, and we're no better off than we were before. We just spent our strings. I think it's pitch Soul Partition. And just say go. Would have been very, very nice to have a second land drop there. Like to have another land. And then next turn we can play the Lotus field, sack our stuff, and then just start untapping. We can still do that if we draw untap land next turn. If you don't know, it's important that your 9 lives do stack. So it's not like when you take damage, a counter goes on both of them or anything. You get to choose which replacement effect applies. So you effectively get, 18 lives with 2 9 lives in play. Really 17, because 2 of them will have 8, and then the first one that goes to 9 is the one that kills you. So you get to put a total of 16 counters on things. We're at 5. This lets us get hit 11 more times. So I'm confident that we will untap here, assuming no, Bone Crusher Giant or something. Do I pitch the Lotus? I feel like I don't pitch the Lotus, because if I draw any untapped land, it lets me put the Lotus in play, have the 2 hidden strings, Dark Petition, do my stuff. By Giganta. We like that. Actually, yeah, pitching the Lotus was probably right, come to think of it. As long as I don't salt off if I lose to a 9 lives. I mean, yeah. It would not be the first time. So here we have what? We have stage, copy, strings. We'll have 6 mana open. Petition, strings. So 6 gets us down to 5, up to 4. Strings gets us up to... Oh boy. Can I just chill again? Like if I just stage copy here, is there a realistic chance that I die? And then after that, if I don't, then I have Zakama to just start pinging down everything. Yeah, I think I just chill. I have to go quickly now because this is only game 2. All right, well, we like that. That's not bad. So we have 7, a bunch. So here's red, blue. Here, sure. Okay. Then 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can petition. Or actually, I can just charm for Dramoka here. Yeah, I like that. Uh-huh. So this is 3. We have 8. They have 2 more flings. Oh, no. Don't want to do that. I think that's backwards, actually. They have to be a little careful with their own Mage Bane Lizard, right? Because they'll take damage off of it, and I have 14 power in play. Three, 6, 7. Down to 2, up to 5. And that ought to do it, I would think. Okay, well, I think I took too long in game 1 thinking through all of my lines. I'm going to run and use the washroom before we start the next game. I don't know that there's a way to win with 4 minutes on the clock, but we're going to try. Whew, okay. Is there anything I can do to try to win the game faster? I kind of like... this given the clock situation. I feel like wrathing the board is not something that's going to win me the game quickly, but silence in their upkeep early on might. Sure. Okay. That's bad. I don't know what the take is, but they're all bad. Probably Zakama. Charm's also reasonable. Three double strike. All right, one of our outs is temporary lockdown. That's not bad. I don't think we're going to live. But we can try. At the end of the day, the match might have come down to just losing the die roll in game 1 and not having like the 9 lives and stuff in the main deck. We may have just lost this game when we got paired, honestly. Feed the swarm. I guess if they're worried about the 9 life Solemnity lock. Yeah. So this is 9 damage. We go to 4. Now we're just dead. That sucks. I mean, what are you going to do? It's our worst matchup by a large margin, so I think I'm okay with that. We were the last round going, so no rest for us. We're going to go straight into round 3. 1-1. We had how many? We had like exactly 64 players to start the tournament. So in a 6-round event, probably need to go 5-1. So another loss is probably curtains for us. I was just thinking, we never drew the silence, so it didn't matter that we boarded out the Path of Peril or Depop. If I block the other creature first, that's the only other thing I was thinking, right? If I block the other creature and then I have the Fae to block the double striker the following turn, that blocks more damage overall, but it just folds to Monstrous Rage. Might have been dead to Monstrous Rage anyway. Like I said, if we draw temporary lockdown, then that's pretty awful if we don't block the big creature. Yeah, there was probably no way out from that point, to be honest with you. I think we needed that charm that they took to accelerate us and then get Zakama into play. But they had Fast Clock and Double Thoughtseize, and they were on the play. I don't think there was anything we could have realistically done that game. But we did the right thing this time. We won the die roll. And we have a good opening hand. Let's see. Our opponent is Real Ulysses, who has played Dimir aggro in their recent Pioneer Leagues. which is like... What the hell is this? This is just like some mono blue... Wow, this deck doesn't look good. It might be good against us, but they have no counter spells in the main deck. They have 4 Thoughtseize. What's Fairy Miscreant do? Mockingbird, Flood Pit's Drowner. Yeah, this deck just doesn't look great. But we'll try it out, see what happens. Might be a world where I want the Mana Confluence in play early because it lets me cycle the Vizier on turn 3 when I play the Lotus. Boseiju hits their Enduring Curiosity, kind of. It hits an Ornithopter if that happens to get big. Yeah, okay. There's Thoughtseize, but our hand is relatively Thoughtseize proof. Our first few turns are kind of on rails. I imagine you take Charm. I can see an argument for Petition as well. Got a raid? Who did we get a raid from? MTG Nerd Girl with the big raid. Welcome, everyone. From one Magic Online stream to another. How did your Vintage Cube draft go? We are playing the Pioneer Challenge, the 1 p.m. 64-player Pioneer Challenge. It started at 1. We are 1-1 playing some Lotus Field in Pioneer Constructed. And for those of you who don't know, I am Airball. I am a co-host of Nerd Girls on the Decked Out Commander Show, and most of my content is sweaty Magic gameplay, along with some variety. I'm also co-streaming this on my YouTube channel if you'd rather watch there, and you can catch up on everything that's happened so far in this tournament over there if you want to. Schultz sucks? Yeah, that's fair. Modern Challenge stream when? You know what? I had so much fun playing the Twiddlestorm deck that might actually happen. I'm not a huge Modern fan, but I did enjoy playing Twiddle quite a bit. And Pioneer has been in kind of a rough place lately, from my perspective anyway. Okay, so opponent Thoughtseizes away the Archdruid's Charm, and we have a Sylvan Scrying, which we can use to go find a Thespian Stage. If I play the Mana Confluence here, it allows me to cycle the Vizier and untap the Lotus Field, but it means that I'll take a bunch of damage off the Confluence that I don't think is necessary, so I think it's actually just play Boseiju, play Scrying, fetch Stage, say go. I think I can do this. Does this work? Yeah. That'll take you to the stream on the YouTube page. Thank you guys for all the follows. 69,420 flowers. Excellent. Outstanding name. That's cute. Mockingbird turning into a copy of Mutavault. That's no longer a creature, so it loses summoning sickness. That is cute. I like that. Well, our line is scripted. I think we're just going to play the Lotus Field here, sack these 2 lands, and say go. Modern's been all sorts of whack with the combo decks lately. Judging from decked out gameplay, it might be your cup of tea. Yeah, I do enjoy my combo decks. Twiddlestorm in particular. Anything where I'm untapping a bunch of Lotus Fields is good. The One Ring is everywhere in Modern right now, though. So in terms of like variety, it's kind of a little scary. All right, so here's Kaido. I don't think this does anything that I particularly care about. Is it free to cycle this Vizier here? If I cycle Vizier and find hidden strings, I still don't think I can go off from there. And we know from looking at their deck list on Goldfish that there's no interaction, there's no spells in the main. So I think I just chill. I'll just play this Espion stage, copy it on their end step, and say go. Yeah, the Mutavault flies too, for whatever that's worth. And this is like, I'm treating this like playing against Arclight Phoenix because it's got a slow clock, very little hard interaction, and that means that we can sort of take our time and develop to the point where we're going to be able to go off without any worry, or like with maximum confidence that we'll succeed, as opposed to other decks where sometimes you just need to try to go off with like 60-ish% confidence. Here we can go a little faster, or here we can go a little slower. So this is a lot of damage. This is 3, 6, 10. We go to 10, and we will have to try to go off next turn. They surveil a land and a Flood Pits Drowner. Most of their deck doesn't do anything against us in game 1. We did fade a Thoughtseize. That's the only thing we would have been a little worried about there. And okay. So now this is the point in the game where we need to do a little tiny bit of math. We have 6 mana, 7 mana with Vizier. Dark Petition has Spell Mastery turned on, so that takes us down to 2 up to 5. If we strings from there, that takes us to 9. Charm down to 6. Yeah. So none of this is actually all that great. I don't think we have a win yet. So do I want to play the Lush Portico first and see what we can do about, and see if we can make our cycle from Vizier a little more likely to hit something? What's our backup plan if we miss on Vizier first? Like we have 6, we go up to 7, we whiff, we have 7 mana left. Petition has to find something in that case. I guess Petition for Poor at the minimum, and we're happy. Yeah, that works. Backseating policy? You're welcome to suggest things. Yeah, I have no particular problem with that. Just don't get mad if I don't do what you tell me to do. But I know that I miss a lot of things, so I'm not super concerned about people trying to make helpful suggestions. Petition for Poor and hope it resolves. Yeah, that's where I landed too. We can be pretty confident it's going to resolve because I looked up my opponent's deck list on Goldfish. There is no Spell Pierce. And now we'll have 6 mana left after Poor here. So Poor really, really does need to hit. Poor has to hit, so I think that means I'm going to Portico here. Did not hit. Okay. Well, I think we can get another turn. Because we have 6 mana, and that's enough to Boseiju and Otawara 2 Mutavaults. And then we'll have to try to go off again next turn. If they somehow don't present lethal... If they somehow don't present lethal, then we can Archdruid's Charm here. We can Charm for Vizier. Yeah. I feel like that's worse if we can be confident that we can get another turn, and I feel like we probably can. Because 2 of these Mutavaults are going to go away. This is going to be 5 damage, and 4 damage will go to 1, and then get to untap from there. And then the Charm for Vizier line is still live. And we'll just make sure that we bounce. We can bounce Kaido, actually. Is that better? That might be better. Oh, he's hexproof. Never mind. Can't bounce Kaido. And now we're sad, right? Like, if they fetch exactly, like, Swamp, Kaido hits a Thoughtseize, and they hit Charm. But even then, like, we have 8 mana next turn, which at minimum, Bala gets back 4. I don't think they have a way to do 1 point of damage to me here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Okay. So 8 mana. Yeah, okay. I still think I think the best line is still Bala get back, pour, and try to go off. Bala get back, petition doesn't quite do it. Extra land drops in blue is cute. Are you kidding me? All right. So what are we even looking for here? Yeah, I mean, I guess it does have to be Charm for Vizier now. Costs no mana. One ring would be pretty nice here. I agree with you there. Yeah, no way out. Damn. Crappy run out. Alright, well, in the sideboard they have 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 4 Unlicensed Hearse. I'm kind of into cutting the Proctors. Obviously, Silences come in. Dramoka comes in. Kaido is a little problematic. This doesn't hit Planeswalkers, right? Right. I feel like Balaget is pretty awful in the face of a bunch of unlicensed hearses, as is Dark Petition. And that gives me room for Path and, I guess, Depop. Because Lockdown hits non-land permanents, right? And, well, I mean, it hits most of their creatures, honestly. Mockingbird becoming Mutavault is irritating, though. But Path of Peril and Depop also miss that. So, actually, maybe it is 2 lockdowns instead of the Path and Depop. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we keep this hand. Do we need sorcery speed wraths if their clock is lands? So I have the benefit of looking at their deck list. They have 4 Spyglass Siren, 2 Ornithopter, 4 Moon Circuit Hacker, 4 Flood Pit Drowner, and they can't all come out. So I feel like the lockdowns are good. They also hit the unlicensed hearses, which are one of their ways of stopping us from going off. So I do think that the lockdowns are good, but I agree that, like, if you're just looking at their deck as a normal Dimir Rogues kind of thing, where everything is flash, then yeah, it doesn't seem nearly as good. Assuming they're playing the deck that I'm looking at, and I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary. Dump this in the Twitch chat. That looks like what we're up against here. As a general rule, Proctors against Thoughtseize decks are not great. I kind of want to maximize the number of cards in the deck that do things when you draw them. They're very good if you know your opponent is running Damping Spheres. But also, my opponent just took Vizier, which... How am I supposed to take that? It probably means they have another Thoughtseize. because otherwise you would expect they would take Dromoka or Charm, right? This is where Otawara is kind of annoying in the deck, right? Because I would love to just play Thicket and threaten Archdruid's Charm here, but now I can't. So the most likely thing here is the Flood Pits Drowner as a 2/1, and I think that that is just fine. Yeah. Let's play Lotus Field. Means they don't want me to go off on turn 3. Maybe. But this I thought was more likely. Usually, if someone takes Vizier instead of an actual threatening card, it's because they're not worried about the threatening card. And they don't have a clock to stop me from getting to the mid-game. So I thought Thoughtseize was extremely likely here. The fact that they took Charm here is a little more open-ended. Yeah, Charm taking Charm instead of taking Dromoka is a little more open-ended here, but so they could have another Thoughtseize. I doubt it though, because they had the ability to. Actually, they didn't. This doesn't tap for black yet. This only taps for blue. So another Thoughtseize is possible. Soul Partition can't hit Mutavault, so if they just fire that up and attack, then that's sad. But any untapped land, we get to try to resolve Pour. And this means that there's what do they have? Disdainful Stroke? Yeah. That's 2 suspicious mana being held up. All right. So normally I'd want to filter this mana away, but if I find Silence... If I find Silence, I still don't want to cast it. So do I jam Lotus Field, or do I jam Pour into what is certainly a Disdainful Stroke? I think if I had drawn a land that actually gets into play this turn, the answer is no. But I don't want to take this turn off. Spell Pierce, okay. Yeah, we have more Pours. I think we just need to keep them from establishing a huge board state. Okay, so no Stroke. This is not a play you make if you have Stroke. This is a play you make if you have Spell Pierce. And unfortunately, we are just stuck. This is very frustrating, by the way. We got ourselves into like an utterly winning spot in game 1, fizzled out. Now I think we've played game 2 quite well and are about to fizzle out again. They tapped out? All right. They have no cards left. Okay, so next turn they have a, what is this? It's a 3/4 that's actually a 5/6. It'll be a 6/7, so it'll be 6, 11, 16 damage in play. If I play out the Fae, this gets to tap it down. So we can't really prevent any damage coming at me. But we can prevent Kaido from activating his 0 or +1 ability. So that still saves a bunch of damage. So I think the play is going to be Fae this turn. And then I feel like Dramoka is just kind of extra. Because if we don't win next turn, then I don't think we're going to win. And there is kind of a world where we eventually assemble enough mana to get Omniscience into play. Also, if they have a Unlicensed Hearse or something, putting this in the bin is irritating. So is Fae of Wishes, mind you. If they hit Fae and Dramoka, then we're kind of more than a little sad with an Unlicensed Hearse, but I think that's just the way it's got to be. Yeah, I think I'm going to pitch Dramoka here and cast the Fae. Granted for 9 lives? How? Oh, you mean granted for 9 lives and play 9 lives next turn? Yeah, but is that really a lot better? Like, we can play 9 lives, sure. It has the advantage next turn of playing through Spell Pierce, so that's nice. But they have 3 attackers, maybe more. And I feel like if we untap next turn, untapping with Pour, untapping 2 Lotus Fields is a lot better. It's a 4-turn clock compared to 2, maybe, right? Like, unless they draw creatures, and then the clock speeds up. So this is 4, 9, 13. Well, now I almost don't want to block. They get to go so deep for a counter. I guess I'm going to block the Moon Circuit thing to prevent them from getting as deep as possible. And then the best draw is something like Hidden Strings. And if they draw a counterspell, then we're basically just dead. I guess the 9 lives line does also play around Disdainful Stroke as well. Like, it threads the needle nicely there. So maybe that was a worthwhile thing to do. I don't know. Them not playing anything here is, of course, deeply concerning. However, can I... I'm at 9. They animate Mutavault. Is there a world where we live? There isn't, right? Yeah, I was thinking if we Besage you, they're Mutavault, but even just this is lethal on its own, so... So either Poor resolves or it doesn't. Yeah. Well, that's a very frustrating game of Magic. I don't know that we can win from 1-2. Let's see. There's one 4-2 player that will make the cut in a 64-person tournament, but that 4-2 will not be someone who started 1-2. So the question is it still worth playing? Eh. Ish. We're in the running for, what, 10 QPs that I can't use on this account? Yeah, I guess none of the prizes actually matter. So the question really is, do I just want to keep playing or not? I think I'll play one more round of the challenge, because I want to, and I'm going to be playing a bunch of Commander this week and not be able to play 60-card Magic, so let's just play one more. But yeah, we are basically boned. There's no way to win the tournament from here. So we'll just hop into a league. The first match in this league, we played against Green-White Hate Bears, which I don't know if it's a worse matchup than Rakdos Prowess, but it's bad. Neither of those two matches felt particularly winnable to me, and we lost the die roll in both. So hopefully we can run into something a little more appealing. That matchup with Ninjas, like, I feel like we played that quite well, but the deck just didn't provide. We may end up multi-tabling for a little bit. This match will possibly take longer than the 15 minutes left in the round, but I don't want to just sit here for 15 minutes. That matchup has to be poor. Yeah, it's not great. We are on the draw again. We have been very bad at winning die rolls, and this hand is not keepable. Hand's also pretty bad. No companion from the opponent. We do have green, green, green Thespian Stage. I think it's a keep. Okay. We've possibly run into the same deck. Trying to decide whether to play the Bottle Get Recovery on turn 1 or not. There's a world where it saves us a point of life later by not having to use the Mana Confluence, but there are also worlds where it buying back something like Pour is really nice. Did I know that all Daybreak accounts have purple font in Moto Chat? Yes, I do. It is, I think, because purple is the color of royalty, and everyone should know that we are to be treated like kings or queens. Yeah, this is definitely the same deck. They miss a land drop? Okay. Charm, I think, is the only reasonable take here, unless you have two Thoughtseizes. Found a Mockingbird. That's cute that Mockingbird can copy an Ornithopter. Okay. So now what? I think the only incorrect land to play here is Thespian Stage. I think I want to play a Ball of Good Recovery tapped here. Oops. Because our life total could matter. We have a second one in hand, and I kind of like having fresh untapped white to play after playing a Lotus Field. That doesn't hurt me with mana confluence. For someone purple fonted, you don't seem whitelisted. True, but this is the third challenge I've played on Magic Online, period, and I top 8'd the first two. So I think we were due for a bad run. I simply do not understand this deck. Found a Lotus Field. Okay. I think I'm going to play Thespian Stage here. Yeah. I'm going to play Thespian Stage and try to rebuy the Charm. There's always a choice, like, well, not always. There's often a choice between whether to play your Thespian Stage on 3 or play your Lotus Field on 3. And the way I usually break that tie is to play Lotus Field without a good reason. And a good reason usually looks like using the 3 mana that turn to be able to do something. And that doesn't happen all that often, but Ball of Good recovering back a Charm was nice. Jesus Christ. Okay. So we are at 11. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage. We're likely to untap. It's not like we have other lines anyway. It's a true Pioneer deck. A bunch of mediocre cards aspiring to live the Kaido dream. You know, I think there was a time when that was true, but for like at least the last year, if you wanted to win anything in Pioneer, you kind of had to be playing something close to the best deck. Because you needed to be able to handle a wide variety of top-notch threats like turn 3 Vein Ripper, turn 3 Kill from Amalia combo. And even though both of those things are gone now, the threat of a turn 2 kill still very much exists in the format, or turn 3 kill rather. And you kind of have to have your big boy pants on if you're going to come to play. Not that Dakaido, but we have 1 turn. Yeah, so if it's exactly the same list that I shared, there is no counter magic in game 1. So we have 3, 6, 7, 11 mana. No, we have more than that. So we have 3, 6. What's their removal look like? They have Fatal Push and nothing else if it's that deck. So 11, Charm down to 8, Leer down to 3, Strings up to 7. Okay, well, so if that doesn't work, but we can Strings up to 11, Charm down to 7, Granted for Temp Lockdown down to 3, Jam Temp Lockdown, untap next turn with Charm. I don't think I can tap like that, though. Right, there's nothing else worth fetching here. Vizier is a very all-in play, and I don't think there's a need for that. Okay, so 4 mana go. That's probably Enduring Curiosity, so 4 power coming at us next turn. We have 3, 6, 7, 8 mana if we want it. Charm, still not good enough, but we can Stage and Charm on end step and try to go off with Leer from there. I forgot to say bye, friends. Am I missing something? It's not a reference I understand. Oh, cute. Enduring Curiosity is an enchantment, so Archer's Charm also deals with it if need be. I don't know the need bees. And now they can Fatal Push, but if they do, they don't get to Enduring Curiosity. Hoogland always says bye, friends, when casting a Juicy Wrath. Oh, I don't watch a whole lot of Hoogland. Not that I have a problem with Hoogland, but I just don't watch a whole lot of content. It turns out that when you spend most of your time making Magic-related content, you don't spend a whole lot of time consuming it. Enduring Curiosity. No. Do I want to kill that? It's not a ninja. I don't think we can die. I can understand not wanting to gloat, but it's very rewarding. Here's the thing. It is very easy to... It is very easy to wrath the board and still lose, and we might be about to do it. The worry here is Spyglass Siren, map onto Curiosity, but even in that case, we can charm away the Curiosity. Yes, I do, because ninjutsu. How do I die to ninjutsu? I don't understand how I died in ninjutsu. Like, imagine they attack here, they ninjutsu Kaido into play. Either they do it before damage and I'm taking 3, or they do it after damage and I'm taking 4. The problem is, like, if they have Kaido and I charm away the Curiosity here, I'm empty-handed and I need to top deck something good, whereas the charm represents Leer, which they can't do anything about. And that Leer represents strings, ball get recovery, another charm. Yeah, I'm gonna let them in, knowing that in game 1 they have no counter magic. I think it's right to let them draw the card. We've been paired in our other match, so now we're gonna be multi-tabling. So here we go. Yeah, we can either charm for Leer or we can charm for Vizier. I can see arguments for both. Their list has no way to kill a Leer. Leer doesn't achieve all that much. Normally we'd be able to flash back Fae of Wishes from the graveyard, but Magic Online is bugged and doesn't let you do that. We could charm in the Portico, but that's no better than just charming for Leer and, for Vizier and cycling it. Yeah, honestly, maybe charming for Leer doesn't achieve all that much. Because then we're in just the same spot next turn with Leer in play. You know what? I think I've talked myself into grabbing Vizier here. Oops. I thought this would flash when it was my turn. Alright, looks like we're up against Is It Phoenix? That's a good draw. Well, is it a good draw? Because if I play the Proctor out now and they kill it, then that's a step towards... I was going to say that's a step towards recurring a Phoenix, but if they kill it next turn, then that means they're not getting a Profts or Artist Talent into play. So I think them killing this slows them down more than it speeds them up. Oh, we suck. Jeez. All right, so they killed our Proctor and Sleight of Handed. That's fine. Obviously, we never would have played the Proctor last turn if we didn't have another one already. And life is good. And now we just see if we're dead. Might be a copy Hall of Storm Giants angle. Yeah, maybe. That's not the worst. Alright, well, let's just see if we're dead in this game. Alright, well, my opponent's gonna have to figure it out. In the meantime, we're gonna play the game. It sounded like our thing died. Yeah. Jesus, we stink. Okay. 6, 10. We can still go off though. And then we'll have to go back here and start sideboarding. Yeah, and if it's the same deck as before, I actually kind of like the same sideboard plan as we had. You know what? Maybe I like the Proctors. Maybe that's worth trying. I feel like the Petition's bad. Polygon Recovery's not great because of the 4 unlicensed hearses. Maybe trim 2 Proctors. And a Charm. It didn't occur to me to encode onto the Proctor, but that doesn't work anyway. Come on. Make sure I actually click complete sideboarding in time. Okay. Blue, black, cycle. Very good at this game. Now we get to Petition and Omni, and I guess Pour. Seems okay. Sure. Awkward hand. Very awkward hand. I don't see how we get rid of it, though. And they gave me Omni and Pour. Now we can Charm. For, I guess, Fae. And Fae can granted. Can we just win with Approach here? Not yet. Yeah, so we have to ultimatum again to be sure that we win. And we can Petition and Balaged and Pour. sure. Okay. Okay, so let's ball get back. Pour. We stink, by the way. Like, atrocious. This is still good enough to win. But... Alright. So that wins us that match. Let's head back over here for a second. Yeah, I think we're just supposed to have 6 through this. There's no circumstance where I cycle Vizier. Okay, so... up against Is It Phoenix, we have Silence, we have Dramoka. I feel like the Proctors are just what comes out. Everything else is kind of just okay. I can take out a Ball Agad. Keep one Proctor. Sure. We'll let that clock run for a bit while we figure this out. We have stuff. We can Lotus Field cycle Vizier. Or we can Beseiju Scrying. I think I like Beseiju Scrying the most, because it means that we don't have to sacrifice this Thespian stage and it holds on to the Vizier. And what's the best card against them? Beseiju hits their Mutavaults. Portico gets me one card deeper, but it's slow. I feel like it's Aspara's headquarters. Good. Yeah, this hand's not good enough to keep, unfortunately. I think this is one of those Psy keeps. I think I pitched the second strings. Island go. We'll play the ball, get recovery tapped. Should have been the Spyro's headquarters. That was sloppy. Trying to play quickly. All right. I think it's just Lotus Field copy. Yeah, like playing around their spell pierces is important. Next turn, like if they tap down to 1, we have Vizier, Cycle, Pour. I like to play around spell pierce. Strings. Okay. Yeah, it's just stage. Stage with the intention of copying Spyro's headquarters. In fact, in the interest of time, I probably just do it at the next opportunity. All right, so now it's my turn. We drew temporary lockdown because we're extremely good at magic. They took Vizier with a Thoughtseize. Interesting. So we know that they're packing Disdainful Strokes. They could also have Pierce. Lockdown dodges both of those things, as long as I play a land first. They actually have negate, so it's not the same list. And now are we dead? This is 3, 5, 7. Yeah, we're dead. Gross. Alright. Well, that sucks. Now we get to focus on one thing. Alright, so 1 Phoenix in the bin. Conniving away a sleight of hand. Hand has turned out to be pretty slow. Okay. That's very good for us. I was worried they would not tap out. I would have loved to be able to use that Archdruid's Charm to fetch a Dromoka. Am I double queuing? Yeah, sorry. I didn't see that message from from 15 minutes ago because I was double queuing. Yeah, I was trying to find something to do in between rounds of the Pioneer Challenge, and I fired up a league, and the league took longer than the time between rounds. All right. Let's start by cycling, see what we find. Petition. So you have so many hidden strings. If I hidden strings first, we have 4, 5 mana. Hidden strings takes us up to 7. Copy. We have 4 left. Strings down. I don't quite have enough to tap them out of mana. But if I start here at 5, 7, 9, 11, I can charm, and they're forced to counter that. Because if they don't, I get Dramoka. And if they do, I get a chance to try to jam Ultimatum. Actually, if they do, then I get to jam Leer and Strings again. But I don't know that there's any reason to be in such a rush. I think I want to do it once. Yeah, this didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. Because now I don't have the mana for the charm. Sure. Alright, well, that was misplayed. Still, we're at 18. They have 1 Phoenix in the bin. They don't have a ton of pressure. Yeah, that was definitely badly played, though. Yeah, I think that threw the game away. 8 cards in hand that they're declining to play. Okay, well. Now we have 10. Lear is going to force something out. Yeah. Lear resolves. Okay. Yep. We have 9 mana here. Yeah, would you stop it? Yeah, and this is just playing terribly now. Yeah, I should have tapped green so that I would be able to cast Archdruid's Charm. Yeah, no, this has been a masterclass in how not to play this game. I think I've thrown it 2 turns in a row. Not my day. We might still find a way to make it, but I doubt it. Probably have to go to game 3. Yeah, this was atrocious. I'm just gonna skip this one. We'll focus on this one from the start, and actually hopefully play well. Do I want to change anything? I don't think so. I think I like this. Yeah, that one's not going to work. Better. I think Petition is the odd man out. Vizier. I think there's a reasonable chance that Scrying gets countered. So I want to do whatever I can to get closer to a Lotus Field. You find Proctor. Okay. Is it better to play Proctor first? They probably board out their fiery impulses, I would think. So if they kill it, it would be by spending a lava axe on it. And it means that the following turn, if we draw an untapped green source, we could Archdruid's Charm on their end step to threaten or to play around some counter magic and then scrying on our turn, but we would need to draw exactly untapped green for that to matter. I still think I like it. And if this gets Fiery Impulse, then that's obviously very sad, but I don't think that it's likely they have Fiery Impulses in here in Game 3. Also, the cost of them holding up Spell Pierce on turn 2 can be pretty high. So we have the aggressive line here of just silence, play Sylvan Scrying. The other option is stage, copy Lush Portico. We could just try to jam Scrying. I think it's very unlikely it resolves. So I'm actually just going to play the Thespian stage, and I think I'm going to say go. They take. They got a Treasure Cruise. That's a weird play. If that doesn't scream Spell Pierce, I don't know what does. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for Archdruid's Charm on their end step. I don't really want to use the silence yet. And I don't feel like I'm under pressure. Tapped Steam Vents, too. It's a free attack, right? I guess if they have Fiery Impulse, they don't have Spell Mastery turned on yet. Sure, I'll chill. I'll take a point. Just on the off chance that that's what it is. All right, now it's getting kind of silly, not drawing the land. Given the charm is capable of finding Dramoka, I guess now is the time I'm willing to part with the silence. You have another Spell Pierce? Jesus Christ. So they have 3, is what they're telling me? Okay. Disdainful Stroke, I guess, makes some sense. Huh. Can Hidden Strings down there. Cycle Vizier. Really need this Archdruid's Charm to resolve. I think I just chill. Try to do it on their end step. No rush. 7 cards in hand. They didn't do anything with them. So now this is a threat that they can only Ether Gust. Jamie Topples with the raid. Welcome, everyone. I saw you, Jamie, in Vegas, but I didn't get a chance to say hi. I hope your event went well. Welcome to those of you who don't know. Jamie and I are old teammates from the DGen Gaming Top Deck Studios days. We're playing some Lotus Field in the Pioneer Challenge, and yeah, that's kind of what we do here. How did your stream go? I assume you were probably drafting. We find Pour Over the Pages. I think we have a chance to go off here. So let's blue, green, and white. And if they don't have Gust here, then we have a pretty good chance to just go off. I think I want Hidden Strings in my graveyard. Let's cast Pour. Let's pitch a Soul Partition. Let's cycle Vizier. Let's do it again. How many of you guys are Pioneer fans? They could have Otawara, I suppose. Doesn't look like it, though. Looks like they're totally F6'd. Okay, we have 3, 6, 9 mana. We need to get to 11. Oh, but we can easily do that. Soul Partition, hit Picklock Prankster. Then we can granted for Merchant Ultimatum. Yeah, place Thespian Stage out. Then when we attack, we'll get 2 Lotus Fields and a green source, which is not good enough, actually. What's the record? We're 1-3. It's not great. Okay. I think we just say go. And then in their upkeep, we can cast Silence. This can't be countered, of course, because of Lear. That's fine. And now it's just a race against the clock. Oops. This is 8, 9. Honestly, I think we can just kill by recurring Silence. I think that's the fastest way to win. Maybe we can't win in time. Gonna try. Okay, Omni, Petition, and Bogget. Charm, I guess. Oh man, I'm just dead. I don't have any time. All right, well, I think that's where I'm going to call it for the day. I played terribly. I played absolutely terribly this event. So I think that's where I'll kill it. But thank you guys so much for coming out. The VOD for this is going to be up on the YouTube to my chagrin. And I will see you guys all in the next one.